Congratulations, we got to the finish line. And because we're persistent and we're passionate for what we do and what we love, amazing things like this happen. There you go.
Net2 Dev.
We made it, guys. This is the last video of our NFT staking and minting application. It has been a long journey, okay? But we got it. We made it happen, okay? So I am going to do a very quick introduction and we'll jump right into the configuration aspects, what we have left to do, okay? We are going to implement React functional components. We need to start using UseState and UseEffect. Those two components are very important for us to understand because we need to do something quite different from our normal React operation. You remember in the NFT collection, we have all the NFTs displayed on the application, so we can see every single NFT displayed. But the problem is we have 10,000 NFTs in a collection. Let's say you have, 1,000. You know, I've seen collections with more than 10,000. So if we have 10,000 NFTs on a particular collection, we're not going to expect the user to scroll all the way to the bottom and look for their NFT. If they bought NFT 8,767, we're not expecting them to scroll all the way to the bottom in order for them to find it, right? And we are not also expecting the user to do Control F and find it because not everybody knows how to navigate that way. So we need to make this a very, very user-friendly. What we are going to do, and I'm going to jump right in, we are going to enable two async maps that we are running when we render HTML. The current map that we are rendering, that we are processing to show every single NFT, okay? Every single NFT along with the wallet, the owner wallet, we are going to change that. We're still going to use the API call to Morales to get the token ID information. So every single NFT that we have sold in the collection, we want to make sure that we can display that on the dApp. However, we only want to see the NFTs owned by the user who connected their wallet. Okay, so whichever NFTs that user who just connected into our Web3 application, we want to show the NFTs that that particular user holds. Okay, so then we only display those NFTs and the user is not going to try to stake an NFT that doesn't belong to him or her. Okay, so we want to make sure that we can do that. But here's the problem. When we run the site, right? So when we refresh or we execute and we go to the React site, the information gets rendered in real time. So we do that Axios API call, we get the information from Morales, we then build the map and display everything after it has been rendered. We need to stop that from happening. We need to hold that and await for the user to connect their wallet so then we can grab their wallet address and do a filter or a condition in the map that will display if this wallet equals the wallet of the user, show me the NFTs that that user holds. You see where I'm going, right? So that is how we are going to show only the NFTs that a particular user has bought, right? So that particular user who bought X amount of NFTs, we only want to show those NFTs on the application, right? Also, we want to show the NFTs that the user already has staked. So any user who decided to stake NFTs, they have 3 or 4 NFTs and they decided to stake 2 NFTs. We also want to know which ones are staked on the vault and which ones are not. So for that, I still leverage Morales. But I need to set another kind of condition. In this case, we're not going to rely on Morales, but instead we are going to do a call to the smart contract to get the current token IDs staked on the vault for a particular account. And we already got that information, because if you see on the dApp, on the verify staking status or the verify rewards, you saw that we have a section where we see staking info or the staking tokens that we have. We displayed those IDs. So why don't we grab those IDs and generate the information as well? So we're going to have, in a nutshell, and we're gonna jump right into everything. It's a long video, but it's gonna be the last video in the series. And we are done with this amazing app. What we are going to do, we need to build 2 maps. One to show the NFTs that user owns and have not been staked, and another map that shows the NFT that user has already staked. For that, we will use UseState and UseEffect. And that's how we are going to tell the application, whoa, stop, don't render, wait for the user to connect their wallet, so then we can grab that address and then we will filter out what NFTs it's that particular user holding, okay? Because we're still gonna call Morales, but then Morales, we will just filter, hey Morales, give me the NFTs that this particular address is holding. And that's how we get those NFTs that user owns and have not been staked. The ones that are staked, we do a call to the smart contract and we get the IDs that are already staked for that particular account and we display them, okay? All right, let's go ahead and let's jump right in and we will talk about the basics in using UseEffect, and we are going to do some magic. We need to remove the NFT section, the HTML code for the NFT section, and we have to move it to a completely different file. So now we're gonna be using React router. So then we can add a route in React that will show the app, that will tell React, hey, render app, because that app.js is our full application, but then I want you to render the NFT portion separate. Why we want to do that? Because we cannot apply the React hooks, in this case, UseEffect and UseState are React hooks. We cannot attach those to our existing app.js because the app.js has been developed using class components. And UseState and UseEffect, it can be only enabled with functional components, okay? So we have to move certain part of the configuration into a separate file, and we have to render both items separately, but still show them on the same screen. Amazing stuff, all right? All right, let's go ahead and let's make this happen. Let's go. So we are all familiar with this amazing NFT staking and minting application. Let's make this happen. Okay, so our mission for this video, it's to convert this from showing every single NFT that has been minted in the smart contract to only the NFTs that the user owns. And from there, the user can stake and unstake and only see the status for only the NFTs that he or she owns. Okay, let's make this happen. So the first thing that we have to do, we have to convert this. And I was explaining to you not long ago that the rendering right now, the way that React will process all this data and display this in HTML, it's by querying with Axios through an API call, obtain the information from Morales, and then we render this on the site with a map, okay? It's basically a loop, and we go over every single item, and that's how we display this in the application. Now we need to do the following. We need to intercept that rendering. So we have to stop the rendering and await the user to connect their wallet, so then we can compare, right, the address that is holding the NFTs, right? So we need to make sure that we can stop, verify the address, and then only display the NFTs that the wallet that is connected holds. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let me first explain what we need to do. I'm going to open a very cool draw whiteboard that I saw online, and this is amazing. I love it. You're gonna love it as well. Okay, so we got our React site. So I'm just gonna draw this real quick here. Let me place it on the middle. Okay, so this is our site. Let's imagine this is our website, right? And then we got the navbar, right? So the navbar is like right at the top. So we got the navbar right here, right? We got the navbar. We got the application. So we got the minting application on the left side, mint, right? We got the mint. We got, now draw this, and this is the staking app. So we got the staking, the mint. Let me just draw it like this. We got the navbar, we got the mint section, we got the staking section, right? On the bottom, what we have right here to display the NFTs, let me just draw it right here. So we got basically a map that is pulling API from Morales. Okay, so we got that in the application. Okay, so in order for us to display all the NFTs, we basically grab the API and then we query the token IDs, and then we query IPFS and so forth. And we have gone through this, okay? Here's the thing. I need to be able to stop this from rendering, but right now the app.js, which by the way, this is gonna make a lot of sense for you guys. The app.js, this by the way, this is app.js. Everything that you see here inside this entire container, let me see if I can change the color. This entire file right here is app.js. And inside the app.js, we have HTML. This thing right here, it's HTML. Inside HTML, we got the navbar. There's a section, the upper section. The beginning of the code is the navbar. Left side, then we got the column for mint. We got the right column for staking. And then right at the bottom, we got map, which is the NFT map. So the rest of the configuration is basically the NFT map. What we need to do, okay, check this out. What we need to do is we got to grab this whole section right here. This will be the map. And we have to export this to a completely different file. So we have to create a new file, right? Called nft.js. We are just gonna name that particular section to be a separate JavaScript file or React file, okay? And inside this particular file, we have to do the functional components, and we have to add the hooks. We have to add UseState, UseEffect, and from there we are going to be able to accomplish this. Okay, this is the application so far. Okay, now this is what we need to do. So this is the old, right? I'm going to delete that. Okay, perfect. Now this is the current or old that we have developed, right? The new one must look like this. What we are going to have, we're going to have a similar app, right? We're just going to copy and paste. We're going to add here. However, the only difference that I'm going to do is that the NFT portions, the NFT rendering will be separate. Okay. So what I have to do instead, this is what I have to do. I have to grab this entire thing, right? The map. We are still going to leave everything in the app.js. We're going to leave the rest in the app.js. However, we are going to move this onto its own file. What file are we going to name this? We are going to name this thing. This file will be called nft.js. Okay, got it so far? So now we have two separate files. We got the app.js, which is going to render the navbar, the mint, the NFT minter, and the staking dashboard. Now we are going to separate the NFT rendering to be on its own file, okay? We need something that will allow me to still display the NFT portion on the same homepage. So once we land on the site, we need to show the same layout. We're not just moving this to a separate tab. We still want to show this on the same front, on the same homepage, okay? So in order for us to do that, there is a third file actually in React that is called the index file, right? So the index file, what it does, it actually does the rendering. So it tells React, hey, this is the sections that you want to render or you need to render. Okay, there's a file called index.js, and which the app.js, right? So in this file, I render all my JS or React sites or React pages, okay? So what I have to do, right? What I have to do now, I have to implement something called the React router. So I am going to add something into index, right? That will allow me to render different pages and still display them on the same app. And you're gonna see how we are going to do this, okay? So there's gonna be something called the React router. There's a tool or a functionality in React called the React router. And the React router will allow me to communicate app.js. Sorry, but I am I like to make sure that the presentation, it's top notch. So I want to make sure that you understand everything completely. Okay, so we are going to connect app.js and we are also going to connect the nft.js onto the router. Okay, so we're going to have both the app.js and the nft.js inside React router. Under Index.js, you see at the top, I am going to draw code right here. So what I want to do, I want to say, I am going to import, check this out, app from app.js, right? The quotes right here, and we are going to import app from app.js because that's the file. And this file, it's in the root, on the source folder, src folder. And we are also going to import what other file? You already know, come on, tell me, NFT. From where? From the file. What file? NFT. Okay, you see where I'm going. So this is how I am going to grab the new file that I've just moved all the configurations to, and I'm going to import onto Index.js, right? Now we want to add a route. If you want to go to the path of NFT, let me just put it all lowercase, you want to look here, okay? Which means that if I want to go to the NFT path, right? If I want to go to the NFT path, let's say we got another tab, like we want to move this to another tab, I will have a path to the NFT site. Under Index.js, right? So basically what it does this. So from the location, it basically is tied to this right here that we just placed. So this import literally is tying to this, which then points to the file. That's how we get those pieces connected together onto the app, so then we can render different pages. But in this case, we want to render both the app.js and the nft.js on the same front page. Boom, check this out. When you go under index, let's bring index right here. Let me go to index. This is where we do the render, the root render. This is where we render the pages. And we see right here that we already imported app. We need to import NFT, but we haven't created the NFT file. Let's do that in a bit. I will add all the stuff that I need to render, all the pages. So in order for me to render the NFT section, once I take it out of the app file, I just need to do this. After I do my imports, I have to do this. Check this out. NFT /. That's it. Once we do that, what's going to happen? The index file is saying that please render app, but then render NFT. So what's going to happen is going to render both one on top of the other, what we want. And you're going to see that right now. Okay, let's go back and we will continue. So now that we have this, right, and you saw what we need to configure, we need to bring the React router. We need to create the files and all that. So let's start by creating the NFTs. Let's move all the configurations that we need from the NFT portion of the site, and we will make the file, we will connect everything, okay? So first thing I am going to do, I am going to create a new source file. This new source file will be called nft.js. This is literally a file in React, right? So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go to app.js. And by the way, when we are working with pages like this in React, you want to stop the application. You want to make sure that you stop this app. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to Control C, boom, done. And by the way, I'm running this on a separate server. I'm going to do a video, how can you build development environments, and then you can build multiple servers and all that. It's going to be very cool. Okay, so awesome. So check this out. What I'm going to do though, I am going to grab anything that is relevant to the NFT section. So the first thing, obviously, that I'm going to export will be the NFT section itself. So I'm going to take this thing out of here, beginning with the container. If you see here, it starts with the container, we got the row, and then we start with the map. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this whole thing out. By the way, before I do that, I am going to click this and see what is pointing to. So let me click the bottom here, and this should light up. Okay, so that tells me this closes right here. Awesome. So let me just select all this and close right here. Perfect. I'm going to right click, I'm going to cut it. And now we are going to go to nft.js. We're going to paste it right here. Good so far, okay? Awesome. Now, we need to do the following. We have some dependencies right here. We have the bulk contract, we got, account. There's things that I still have to bring from app in order for me to separate this function here, okay? So with that said, I am going to now remove what I need to remove from app.js to render that map. Okay, so the class extent, I cannot remove this because this is also needed in app.js. I am not going to remove this. What I'm going to do instead, I'm just going to copy the whole thing and then I'll clean it in nft.js. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this whole thing. I'm going to go to NFT. I'm going to paste. And what I'm going to do, I believe the only state that we need here is NFT data. And by the way, this will go away because we're not going to be using a class component. We are going to be using instead a functional component. So this will go away, but I just want to make sure that you can see that I can move this whole thing to a separate file and still render it. Okay, so we got this. I don't need the handle model. Handle NFT, no, this is to buy NFTs. I don't need that. Okay, Axios. This is to show the NFTs, the count of NFTs. This is not needed. The only thing that I do definitely need is the NFT data. So let me go ahead and leave that there, right? Now, also what I have to do right here, I got to start the render. So I got to do render, and I am going to do this. Okay, and then I am going to go all the way to the bottom, right? And we have to close the render. But first we have to do a return because this is how we return in HTML. So we type return, right? And then we open, but then we have to close it at the end. Okay, so we have closed the return. Now we have to close the render. We close the render, and finally we have to close the class. The class is the one that we started, and you see errors are gone. That's awesome. So now I am going to format. This looks perfect. Cool. Okay, so now we got this. What else am I missing from the app? So obviously NFT data. If you can see, I removed the NFT section, the NFT map, and now this shows grayed out. So that tells me, sure enough, I got to take this thing out of there and put it here. So I am building this so you can see how can we migrate things from, one page to another, or at least one file to another. And I got this. Now NFT data is not needed here because this is the app.js. I don't think I need, obviously I need the API key for Morales. I'm going to copy this thing. I am going to put this on top of the class. Cool, this is perfect. I still have to, oh, and by the way, because it's asking, there's two functions. I'm going to show you in the NFT side. There's two functions. There's one to stake. There's another one to stake. Those are the buttons on the NFT itself. We still have to bring the Web3 model. So we have to bring the connect button and all that, all those functions, because we need to open this here. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring all this, and then we'll see what grades out. Work smart, not hard. As a matter of fact, I would have just grabbed the entire app and start cleaning instead of me going back and forth. I think it would have been a more quick approach into migrating things, okay? But everything works, okay? So now what I need to bring up, I'm just gonna bring this entire thing, okay? But I'm gonna do the following. I'm going to bring this guy here. Okay, and let's see, you can see already that stuff just grayed out, but I still need to bring the connect button. But I'm gonna do something different, and you're gonna see what I'm going to do instead. I am going to, sorry. I am going to, vol contract, gate staked NFTs. I don't think I need this yet, or what I need. Oh, okay, anyway, let me just grab this whole thing, right? I'm gonna bring the async function because I still need to pull data from this location. I am going to open this async function right here. You can see it right there. But then what I'm going to do, I am just gonna label this to be different. Get Web3, which means that I am going to call this doing rendering, okay? I'm just gonna name this differently because this is for the button, but what we want to get, we want to still be able to communicate to the Web3 handle or the Web3 connection, and we want to query those values because I still need to have the stake and unstake functionality. But, and by the way, this is all gonna go away in a bit because we are going to do functional components, which it's gonna change the way that we do this, okay? But for now, I mean, just want to show you that I can migrate stuff, okay? So we got this, and I have to close this right here, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to close this right there. Now I have the async function that I need to open that Web3 connection. Check this out. I need Web3 model. So let's see, Web3 model, it's there, but actually it's, wow, what's up with this provider Web3 model? Oh, you know what? This is the issue. This is uppercase. Boom. Now it works. And then wallet connect provider wallet link. Oh, yes, I know what it is. So let's go. Here we go. Copy this whole thing. Copy. You see, it would have been just better just to do a copy and then start deleting. We're getting there. Okay, cool. Now we can see that more stuff has been lighting up. Now the Polygon scan API, I expect not to use that because I am not going to interact with the NFT minter in the NFT section. And the Alchemy Web3, do I need this? Let's see. Oh, I do not need this. Okay, so I can take this guy out. Cool, awesome. And button group, oh yeah, I don't need the button group because that's for the minter. Okay, cool. So that looks better. Contract, why contract? It's showing this. And let's see. Oh, you know what? I gotta bring the. Okay, check this out. This is very cool. So if you want to run an async function without having to attach to a button, there's two ways of, there's multiple ways to run a async function, but one of them is you can do onload. So there's the one that we use to connect to a button. It's onClick. We just type onClick equals, then we open and close brackets, and then we add the function name. In my case, I want this to auto load when we load the site, right? So what we want to do instead is we want to get Web3 on load, meaning that the moment it starts rendering, it auto connects, okay? So check this out. I am going to do onload equals, and then I'm going to open and close brackets. I'm going to call this get Web3. Okay, so now you're going to see this lining up, and sure enough, now we know that the moment the render hits this liner right here, this HTML line, it's going to talk here and it's going to open that connection. Okay. Okay, cool. We'll see if we run into any errors. Okay, so I think we are good. Okay, the moment that we need to work with that React router. So let me go to Index.js, and under the index file, what we want to do, going to do the following. I am going to import route and router. So I am going to import routes and route, right? And this is how we can perform the React router that you saw in the whiteboard section. So we are going to do this right now. What we're going to do, we're going to connect the app and NFT page file onto the same index, so then they get rendered in sequence, okay? So what I'm gonna do, let me go back, and I am going to type. Now I am going to import that NFT. Remember, we are going to create a new import from, the import name is NFT, and we are going to import this from // and let's find the NFT file. There you go. Awesome. Cool. And you can see right here, it's already imported because we already typed this in the Index.js. Okay, now I have to build the route. Let's build that route. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to open routes, and this is basically like to group in the individual routes together. So what the first thing I'm going to type is routes, and then we are going to close routes, and then inside here we are going to open a single route, right? And this is how we do it. We add route, right? And the path, what's the path? NFT. This is the section in the site if you want to open this on a separate page, okay? We're going to use this in the upcoming videos, okay? Not now, but later we will definitely use it. So in this case, if I want to open this on a separate page, this is how we can make a section in React. So this is how we do it, and then we map it to the element. What's the element? In this case, I mentioned location, but it's actually element, okay? So this is not location, this will be element. Okay, so just wanna make sure that correct this right here, it's element. So basically we are importing it from an element, okay? So let's go back. Okay, awesome. So you can see it right there. Now looks good, that looks good, okay? Let's go. Let me now save and see how many errors do we face. I don't think so. We save the index, we save the NFT. We are going to go app, all right? And now app should be fine as well. Maybe app might complain because I have duplicate elements. We'll see. Okay, so I just saved app. Cool. Now let's go ahead and give it a shot. So what I'm going to do, I am going to run the site again. Let's see if we run into any errors. Okay. We got an error. So it says imported as NFT. Oh, you know why? I might know why. NFT, it's the way that we imported the function. Wait 1 second. I think I didn't even create a function, or I did. No, I did. Oh no, hey, check this out. No, this has to be the same. So we have to import and export the same way. So we have to use the right name. This is not correct. And we got, at the end, we got to export that. So export a default NFT. And that's it, okay? So that looks good. Now let me go back onto index. So the module, yeah, the module is all lowercase. This is uppercase, element NFT, NFT. Now it looks good. Okay, so this is good. Let me now save this, and let's go back. Let's see. Awesome, looks good. All those errors, I am very familiar with it. And by the way, we're gonna fix that. And let me refresh. Boom. There you go. There you go. You can see something. We don't have the background. Why? Because we have moved this whole section to a separate file. So we're not going to render using the same CSS values. We can. You want to do it? Let's go and do it. You're going to see this. What I'm going to do, I am going to find first what the value is for the app. So it will be the CSS object called NFT app. Let me go ahead and copy it. And now we're going to go to NFT and container. You know what? This we got to open because the container will not be completely the background. If we inherit the object into the container, the background will not be complete. We'll be just coloring a particular section, not the entire thing. We don't want that, okay? So what I want to do, I am going to open another div, and then in this case, I'm going to call this class name. Let's just call this the NFT app, okay? And this is just to wrap the entire thing. So then everything gets painted with the same background. But then I have to make sure that that CSS object does not have any formatting because it might screw up the stuff that I have here. So this should add the closing statement here. We'll just gonna Control S. And yeah, I got the same app CSS right here. Let's go back. And sure enough, and you see like it changed the color because it's rendering differently, but at least, you know, it's working. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. So now we got the same background. So that's cool. Okay, awesome. We're done. Now we are going to deploy the functional components. Okay, let's do it. Let's change the entire NFT map to only show the NFTs owned by the connected wallet. Okay, let's go. So let's go back. So what I want to do now, I want to go ahead and change this whole thing. And I got a file already ready to go. So I want to save as much time as I can. Okay, so the first thing that I have to do when we work with functional components, we have to, obviously, we cannot use the class because this is separate or this is a different type. And by the way, this is kind of deprecated. Now we're moving towards functional components in React. Everything is pretty much using hooks and less involvement with class. Okay, so we're doing functional components. So if you decide to do a new site or you are developing a new project, I strongly recommend you go with functional components. Okay, but we have to touch both options. That's where, you know, we want to be the best. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do, I am going to show you real quick what we need to do here. Let me open my beautiful whiteboard. I love this thing. Okay, I'm going to delete this whole thing. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna save it as PNG, and I will add this to the GitHub. Okay, cool. So we got that. Now I am going to select this whole thing. By the way, I'm not going to select the whole thing. I'm just gonna delete this. I am also going to delete this because now we are focusing in the NFT itself. Okay, what I need to do now, right? I have to grab this. I am going to explain now UseEffect, UseState. So I need to be able to capture an action. I have to do a callback in React that will allow me to get an action performed with a particular function. So let's say if someone executed a function, if you get that function, then proceed, right? So with that said, I need to be able to tell React, hey, I got the information you need to render, now go ahead and render. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to place in between the two sections. So we got the app site and then we got the NFT down here. So what I have to do before I start rendering this thing on the bottom, I have to add this. I have to add a load state, which basically says, hey, if you don't get loaded, meaning that I am not receiving the information that I'm expecting in order for me to, right? And by the way, I should have separated this so you're not confused. So I'm saying, hey, if you don't receive this message, which is the message that we are going to trigger if we get the information we need. If you don't, then I can put a condition right here. Like for example, I can say, well, I am going to, if you don't get this loaded, then do this. And by the way, what I can do instead is I can say a message, please connect wallet. Okay. So what I can do instead is if you don't get loaded, assume that the user hasn't connected their wallet. So then you are going to show a message or a title, say, please connect your wallet. And then that way I can tell the end user they have to connect their wallet in order for this to render, in order for the NFTs to show up, right? So with that said, I now have to get this information from somewhere because this has to be given to me. So then this load state can take action. Else this is not going to work. We need to have some condition to consider the data obtained. So then we can go ahead and allow the render to happen. If not, you're going to have a condition. If you don't match this, then hey, show that you need to connect your wallet. Okay. So what I have to do now, I have to do something. Let's call another function. So the function that I'm going to do, I am going to do get, or I'm going to type call API. So I'm going to create a function called API, right? And this function will also be async because we need to expect the user to do the connection, right? So inside the async function, what I have to do, I have to go ahead and do all the Web3 connect, dot, eat, whatever, all the handshake to the MetaMask wallet or any other wallet. And I got to tell you know, from there, I want you to get account, you know, and from account, then I want to say, yeah, if you get the account, then call get state. So basically what I'm going to say is get state, basically account. So basically I'm going to say the moment you get account, then consider this to be loaded, right? And then we can go ahead and proceed to continue rendering because we already got the value of account. That's what we need to do, okay? So once I get that state, I can say, hey, you got the state, then you are going to load it, right? You got what you need, go ahead and execute. You see where I'm going? It's gonna make more sense once I build the whole thing, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So I have to do two things. I got to use state, and this is the moment we do that use state. Basically what I'm going to do, I am going to wrap NFT. I am going just to create an object called NFT ID. I am going to create an object called Apex call, right? And then get NFTs. So I have to render the entire thing. And I believe at the end I have an object called NFT. And then, you know what? I am going to do this. I am going to grab the entire thing. I'm going to show it on screen here. I am going to remove all this. I know that there's going to be more stuff, but I just want to show you the high level here. So I'm going to say the following, right? This is the Axios call. I just want to take this thing out of here. I want to take this thing out of here. I just want, okay, cool. That looks good. Okay. So what I'm going to do, by the way, this is good. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So the moment, right? The moment this particular section in the function gets processed, consider the load state to be loaded, right? And how do we tell React with useState that is loaded if this gets populated with API call? So if I get that completed, then consider that loaded and then proceed to load the site. Get stake. So get stake, it's because we need to also show the NFTs that the user is holding on the staking vault. Once I get all the information that I need to load that, okay, let's go ahead and load the page because I already got the account. We need the account address or the wallet address, and then we also need the NFTs that the user has staked, if any. If not, then you're not going to render anything, okay? Cool, let's finish this up. Okay, let's go back. And what I'm gonna do, because we're gonna get rid of the class, we are now moving into functional components. I can effectively take out component from React. The only thing that I have to import from React is React itself. Okay, and now we are going to import UseState and UseEffect. So I'm just gonna add this right below here. Cool, awesome. And what else am I missing? Nothing else. I do have this. And I got the Vault ABI, I got the ABI. Cool, I don't need the ABI. And I do need the Web3 connector. We need the account, but we don't need the contract, okay? Awesome, so now what I got to do, I am going to import. So I am going to grab this. And we are going to replace this whole thing. This you are already aware. So you are already aware of this. This is the Web3 model. This is the Morales API key. And this is the variables that we are going to use to make the call. Okay. So what I got to do now, I have to open the default function. So what I'm going to do now, instead of me doing the class component, I am going to open default function NFT. Okay. This is the name. I am going to now create tool to get the information for the API call. If this gets triggered, then get NFTs. Once I get both conditions met, use the state, because with that, I am going to assume that we are loaded, okay? We now have to do a similar approach with NFT stake, and I'm going to show you what the difference is here. This is to get the information from Morales. This is the information that we are going to get from the staking smart contract to know which NFT IDs are staked on the vault, okay? And at the end, I am going to configure a loading state, meaning that if it's loaded, then continue rendering, else do not render, okay? So basically, if set loading state, it's not equal to loaded, then consider it not loaded. Simple, okay? How am I going to make sure that the state has been met or use state has been triggered? We are going to use effect, which is basically a way to hook the function to the state. You see where I'm going? We are going to grab async function call API, and we are going to use that as the trigger to set the state of API call, okay? Check this out. So I open the function async call API. We are going to open the provider. We're just going to connect Web3 connection, normal Web3 connection. We now are going, check this out. We are now going to query the vault contract. We are querying the ABI, and the ABI points to vault contract. Now let config API. We are just going to do this API get with Axios. You're already familiar with this. And then finally, we want to get the results. This is the way for me to go over every single NFT and then be able to loop and then create the map, okay? Now, whatever information you get from the API call using Axios, you want to then create the call, so then we can classify each item or each data that we get from the API call, token ID. We are going to go over every single one of them, and then token ID. So let's say NFT 1 will be the first call or the first value, then token ID for that first value, which is 1, owner of. You see where I'm going? So owner of will be the holder of the NFT, and this is the value that I created for that. Wallet account. Check this out now. Now I need to get the staked NFTs, and this call that I'm using right now is the same call that we're using to populate the token IDs or the NFT IDs that the user has staked on the vault. Okay, you see where I'm going? So with that, we are now going to create another thing, which is another promise to go over every single NFT ID and be able to call that in the map. So then we can also show the NFTs that are being staked on the vault, okay? And from there, we're gonna get 2 get calls. We're gonna get 1 get NFT call because we're calling the API. Once we get the information from Morales, we are going to consider this use state to be completed. We are now also doing the same thing for get stake or get SDK, which means that you were able to gather the information from that API call, and now we got the token IDs that the user has staked on the vault. See where I'm going, right? This is for me. I just set that console log to show that I am indeed getting the information that I need, okay? And by the way, I can remove this, or I can show you how that looks, okay? And then set loading state, it basically saying that if you got those 2 values from your get, that means that we're loaded. Awesome, okay? And now we got this information called right here. Now we know that if this happens, then this should also happen, then we get the state, and then this is the condition, then this is the output, or this is the result, and then this use state for that, and then we use the effect because this information is being called from called API. See where I'm going, okay? And this takes a lot of practice. This, trust me, just looking at this video will give you a lot of idea, and you have a template that you can follow for future use case, but this is, there's a lot of moving pieces, and I can draw this whole thing, but we're just gonna run out of time. Okay, so awesome. So with that said, now I have to stop. I have to say, hey, stop. You haven't gotten the information that I need. Until you get the information, then you are going to render this whole HTML code, else we're not going to render that. So with that said, what I gotta tell the React site, check this out. This is kind of cool. I am going now to add the following. Check this out. Now we're opening that loading state. If loading state doesn't match, right, loaded, nor you get the right length in the call, so basically the right data or the right index or the amount of index that you need to consider that data reliable, then go ahead and return me wallet is not connected. So that means that the user has to connect their wallet, and it will show that. But if this doesn't apply, which means that it's actually loaded, then go ahead and render the actual NFT map. Check this out. We got two maps. The first map, the API call. What are we going to get from the API call? We are going to get the owner. We have to create a new var called owner, and from there we are going to map from the promise that we configure on top here. From the map, this is the promise right here, API call. Okay, so from API call, I want to open a promise and get the NFTs and all the item information. So now I have to get this output and make sure that I can render the information in the map. So what I'm going to do is the following. Let me open, and we're almost done. So check this out. I am going to just delete this whole thing. I'll delete this here as well. I'm going to delete this. Okay, the first map is API call. Okay, what's going to happen? So Morales is going to give me all the IDs, right, that I need, or all the tokens that are minted in the smart contract and all the NFTs and so forth. Okay, but now from that Morales call, I need to get, I'm going to create a var called owner. From there, I need you to give me the value, which is, what's the value right here? Wallet. If we go up onto the wallet, what's the value that I should return? Account. That is the wallet address of the user who connected. Let's go back. So owner equals wallet. So basically what I'm expecting is to wrap owner, store the wallet address from wallet into owner, which is basically the account. Now I'm going to set an if condition. So if, right, if the owner is equal to whatever information of owner of in Morales, then show me that. So now you're going to see NFTs for that particular owner. So what we're going to do, we're basically saying the following. I am saying if owner, right? Check this out. If owner matches owner of in Morales, display the NFTs. So basically what I'm doing is from the API call in Morales, I am getting and comparing the address. Is the address in Morales the same as owner? If so, show me those only, you see? So let's say for example, the owner, it's the wallet is AABB. I'm just gonna make something up. What I'm expecting Morales, right? In this condition right here, basically owner is equal ABB, and then also owner of must be AABB as well. This is the information from Morales. This is the information from the wallet that is connected. If both in the condition, so you're gonna see the condition right now, if both are the same, so basically this and this are the same, then show the NFTs with owner of, meaning that show the NFTs with that address, with that particular address. You see where I'm going? Awesome. And now that's how we show the owner NFTs, or the NFTs that the user owns. Okay, one last thing. The next map that I'm going to render, this is one map. Basically what I'm looking is for those particular IDs, because if the address in the NFT doesn't match the owner, it means either the owner is not the one that is connected, or someone else hold those NFTs, or they're staked. So now we have to make sure that you're not just not showing the NFTs that the owner might own, but they're staked, because Morales will not show the same address of the owner because they're now inside a smart contract. They're in the vault, okay? So with that, what I have to do now, I have to do another call, which is NFT stake. That's another map that I have. And in this case, what I'm going to do instead of Morales, I am going to call the staking smart contract, right? And in the staking smart contract, what I'm going to look, NFT IDs of owner, right? So whoever connected their wallet, I am going to query against their wallet address the NFTs that are staked on the vault. And from there, I am going to do a very similar approach. if the owner, in this case the wallet, is the vault NFTs, so it's matching the address inside the vault for a particular NFT, then go ahead and display the staked NFTs, right? So it has to match. So show me the staked NFTs that are matching with the same address as the wallet who connected to the smart contract, the owner wallet, okay? So once we get to that, check this out. This is, in order for us to have that amazing functionality, we have to go deep into coding, into getting that functionality in place. Now, guess what? I am going to give the opportunity for that particular owner to stake those NFTs. So I am going to add a stake button, right? And in the stake call, this is a Web3 call, right? So what I'm going to do in this call, I am going to say, well, you know what? This attaches to the token ID or the NFT ID. And that's how I can say, well, when you hit stake, what I'm actually sending is it's a staking request for that particular NFT ID, which it's owned by the owner and it's not staked. In the case of unstaked, however, if we want to show an NFT that has not been, that is already staked, but we want the user to be able to stake, right? For one click of a button, what I'm going to do instead, right here, the same thing. But in this case, I'm going to type unstake, but then I'm going to display the NFTs staked on the vault, not the owner NFTs, because the owner is not in possession of those. Okay, so now we got the two options. We got the stake and unstake, and the NFTs that are not staked are going to be pulled from Morales, and we have to match the owner wallet that is connected to the wallet address that is reflecting in Morales. The unstaked NFTs, however, I have to match the token IDs that are showing when we do that Web3 call to the vault contract. And that's how I can say, hey, those NFTs are staked, but they belong to the owner, because we can do that. We can perform that Web3 call and use that data to get the output that we need. Okay, let's go back. And with that said, we got all the information that we need to get the render going. Okay, now is the moment of truth. So let's go ahead and run it. And should I be able to look? 1 second. Let's see. Yeah, yes, awesome. First attempt. Cool, check this out. So I decided to do a very cool gradient effect, which basically what it does, it shows the NFTs that are staked on the vault, they're gonna change colors. So it's like a very cool way of me saying, hey, those NFTs that you have staked, show that pattern changing, which is kind of awesome. Okay. And those who are not staked, those NFTs that we're not staking yet, then just show regular. This gives a very cool visual appeal, which is kind of cool. Okay, so what else do we have to make sure that we get? We know that the Connect wallet is working just fine, and now this is the same call that I'm getting using the map. So in the NFT page, or the nft.js, I have the same call, and that's how I'm able to classify staked and unstaked NFTs, right? So if we go back, we got 6, 8, 9, and 10. And we got 6, we got 8, 9, and 10. Awesome, okay? A very cool thing that I added also to to each NFT that has staked, I just downloaded this cool icon, and this is for me to differentiate anything that has been staked from anything that is not staked. So what I did, I just imported that onto the map. I'm going to show you the code right here. Let me go back. Now let's go to the unstaked section. So you can see there's two maps. So we got the first map. Let me control. Here we go. API call. And we got the first map right here, right? So this map will query the Axios, and those are the NFTs that have not been staked yet. And then we got another map to display the NFTs that have been staked, okay? And then from there, we can provide the unstaked button, which is basically what it's gonna do. It's gonna call the smart contract and say, hey, unstake. And then we will provide already the NFT ID, because it's attached to each NFT as the site got rendered, okay? And I want to show you where, oh, here we go. Okay, so if you see here in the image location, so I have an image over, right? And I got the IPFS image of the NFT, but I placed another image on top of it, and I set the position absolute, which allows me to put it on top of the other picture. Like, that's very cool. So I can now add this picture on top of the other, and basically this is the stake icon, the little bull that I got in the site. So this bull right here, and size that I added, that you're gonna see it right here. It's literally just 90 pixels, and I got a top because I want to make sure that it's inside the card, not outside. And yeah, that's how I did it. And below it, we got the NFT picture. Okay. Awesome. So another thing that I want to do, I want to be able to get the user. So let's say the user, let me go ahead first and try to stake one of them. So I'm going to click here, and sure enough, we got the stake. We don't see any errors. We are actually sending this action with this ID already, which is kind of awesome. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stake this real quick. Now let's wait for that confirmation to happen. Boom, and it got staked. Awesome. It got staked. Cool. Now, well, check this out. Now we don't see this refreshing. So I can either just refresh the site, and this should now become red. So let me go back. And sure enough, here it goes. Now 14 is staked, and it's now showing the same pattern as the other ones who are already staked. Okay, but also I can give the opportunity to the end user to add a refresh button, which basically is going to do the same thing as the refresh. So basically, I'm giving the opportunity to the user to refresh from here, and then they can see the updated information. Let's now say, right? Let's now say that I am going to connect myself with a different wallet to see what will happen. I should not see all these NFTs. I should see a completely different set of NFTs, NFTs that I owned. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change myself to this wallet, and I am going to connect to this wallet. And now I am connected with that wallet. Yep. Cool. Let me refresh. Connect. And you can see different NFTs. Now let's take a look down. Different, completely different NFTs. Not the same as the other wallet. That's awesome. Now I only see my NFTs, and I already got NFTs 2, 3, and 4 staked, and I am only left with 2 more NFTs to stake. Let's say I want to unstake one of those. I'm just going to click this one. I'm going to go ahead and unstake. And now once we get that confirmation, we will refresh and see if that changed back to blue. Let's wait for the confirmation. Boom, and it got confirmed. Awesome. Alrighty, awesome. So now let me go ahead and refresh. Go back. Sure enough, there's our guy right here. Awesome. Now we only got 2 staked on the vault. That's awesome. Okay, one last thing before we wrap up, and this was a long video. So the last thing I want to show you is let's build that quick app.js section. And I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to build this section to show, check this out. To show the button, I'm just going to add a title called NFT Portal. Okay. So let me go to app, and let me go here. Let me go to app.js. We're going to go all the way to the bottom. We no longer have that map. Now the map is alive in a completely separate section, which is kind of awesome. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to place this before the closing bracket. And sure enough, and I probably will have to bring the files. Let me see if those render. If not, I can bring them right now. I'm going to save this. Let's go back, and let me go ahead and refresh. Yeah, and the reason why it's not, because I have to create that function or that constant that will allow me to do the refresh. I'm going to show you what it does. It's kind of cool. So what I got to do now, I have to code that real quick. This was by far my longest video in the channel. It's insane. But again, it's everything on the site, okay? So what I want to do now, I am going to add this in the end of it. So let me go back down. I am going to add it right here, and sure enough, that should take care of it. Boom. it did. Okay, let me see if everything got rendered. And yes, we got the pictures. So I definitely left the pictures there. Cool, awesome. So there you go. Now I should be able to click here and this should refresh. But first, what I want to do, I want to stake another NFT. So let me stake number 1. You see, this is working like a charm. Okay. And we're done. Once we get the confirmation, we are good to go. Boom. And we got that confirmation. Okay, let's see how that goes. Sure enough, now we got NFT 1. That's the one that we just staked. Working like a charm. If you want to take a look and see how I did this real quick, I'm going to show you right now. Basically, I just added a button right here, on click, refresh page. Basically, it ties to the constant that I created to the window reload. Oh, let me explain to this real quick. So this is how you create a button to refresh the page. Basically, it's window.location.reload, and then just attach this to a constant, and then call this with an on click, and boom, you got the refresh. Okay. And this is the title, and then all the styling for that button, and then the text in the button, and all the picture files. So I basically put 80%. I should have put it 60. Like 80 is too big. I'm gonna save it. I'll go back and see how it looks. And way better, more nice. Okay, cool. And I do have the CSS value on the site. I will provide all the files and the instructions. Okay. Also, the claim button has been fixed, or at least the function has been set. So that's also in the GitHub files. We are done. Just for now. We're starting the NFT marketplace and DeFi. We did it. We did it, guys. You, and you. You got this to this far, and you now have what it takes to develop your own NFT staking and minting application, okay? We cover everything that we need to know from a React standpoint to build this amazing application. Now we are going to keep climbing the ladder because we're not stopping. We're not stopping. Now, with the knowledge that we all have obtained, including myself, we are going to build an NFT marketplace, and we are also doing DeFi in the same application. Awesome. Alrighty, so this is the last video for the NFT staking and minting application. I hope you enjoyed our entire journey. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. And also make sure that you follow the GitHub project file instructions. And I do have a README file for each section. Make sure that you go through each section so you can practice and become an expert in deploying Web3 application. Alrighty? Well, that's it for now. I hope you liked this video. And if you do, you know what to do. Like, subscribe. Thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate this. Okay, and we'll see you on the next video, of course. Bye.